who also proposed an amendment to the Armed Forces Act, a move on the floor of the Senate which stirred controversies. It was a bill that seeks to create an Armed Forces Commission, stirred some of the lawmakers there to talking and debating over the matter. Well, Senator Abaribe joins us from our Abuja studio tonight. Thank you so much, Senator, for coming on the show tonight. And perhaps let me begin the conversation by asking you, your party, PDP, came out against President Buhari's trip yesterday. Although Mr. Garba Shehu on the program yesterday said that the president is not a medical tourist this time. Well, the question is, Senator, has the president done anything wrong in the eye of the law?
I don't think he has done anything wrong in the eyes of the law. He has a right to seek, take care of himself medically. I think morally is where he has done everything wrong. This was a president that told us he will never go on any medical checkup or trip abroad, and actually condemned the huge amount of money spent on medical movements outside before he was elected in 2015. And shortly after, he lived more abroad than in Nigeria. And so, when the COVID business started, we were assured that medical facilities in Nigeria will be upgraded and that there will be no need for so much of our money being spent abroad. We were just surprised that nothing has changed. He's still depending on foreign facilities than in Nigeria. And just like you said in your report, everybody will have expected that the State House Clinic would have the minimum to be able to do medical checks for him. If he now needs treatment, he could go there. But, well, what can we do? We're just seeing an APC government that says one thing and does another.
The spokesperson of the president said yesterday that the president is not a medical tourist. And the reason why he's going there is because he needed to sustain and maintain those who have been attending to his health, the doctors that have been attending to his health. And he's mentioned a few hospitals there, in Abuja that said they're coming up to par at a standard that can take care of the situation. He said the president and the government has approved and looking into upgrading the situation of things. How do you react to the president's comment that he's not a medical tourist? He just wanted to sustain the patronage to his doctors of over 30 years.
Sometimes, these presidential spokesmen make you laugh. What is a medical tourist? You leave your country to go to get medical attention elsewhere. Who? And that's not your country. So what are you? You're nothing but a medical tourist. So I don't think we should just continue with this banter. I think really it's a crying shame that we have lost so much to the extent that just to do a medical checkup, you have to go all the way to London. Well, that's, like I said before, we just see people who say something and do the exact opposite. People come from outside this country to come and give medical treatment here. People have been doing kidney transplants, all manners of things, yeah. Which means that we already have facilities in certain local hospitals here that could take all those type of, I would say, medical procedures. And there are too many very, very great Nigerian doctors here who could also do that. But it seems to me that the Commander-in-Chief is fixated on always running to another country, and there's nothing much any of us can do about it, if that's his inclination.
Part of the conversation yesterday was what the president said before he left, the order that he gave the security chiefs, and also the president's spokesperson told us that the federal government will soon make public the names of those funding Boko Haram and banditry in the country. Does that give you any kind of cheer, Senator?
It doesn't show. It doesn't, because this is about the umpteenth time that we are hearing the president giving marching orders. I mean, throughout the Buratai time as army staff and every other person, he was always giving marching orders. So he's giving just another one. And I mean, why would we take him serious? Just the day after he had said we will no longer accept all these kidnappings and all that, this will be the last kidnapping, they kidnapped the next day. And what happened? And those people are still there. Those innocent Nigerians are still in captivity up till now. And you want us to do what? That he just made a statement? That's normal by him. He always makes a statement every time these things happen. Nothing happens. So it's obvious that nobody takes him serious with that. Even the military chiefs, I don't think they bother themselves.
But when they say that those who are funding these bandits and those who are funding Boko Haram, I mean, we understand that there is a linkage now with all of those, the perpetrators of all of these heinous crimes, and that their names will soon be published. What do you have to say to that?
First of all, Sean, what I need to say is that there is some dissimulation by government. Dissimulation in the sense that rather than call somebody a terrorist, you call him a bandit. So you sweeten the word, make it look like it's something that is less, that is more palatable to hear. I mean, these are people who are destroying the country, who are killing, maiming, doing all manners of things, and driving people away from their natural habitats. What do you call them? Then you say, oh, they are called bandits. Okay, and then the next one will now be, we are going to publish. I mean, where in the world do you fight crime? By publishing names of people. Where? What you do is that when you have had intelligence and you do your investigation, what next you do is to arrest and prosecute. You don't tell me that, oh, by next week we're going to publish names of people. Who do they think that they're talking with? They're not talking to, are they talking to intelligent people, or do they think that we're all fools in Nigeria? We're not. So we have seen through all this, and Shem, don't let me lose my temper, because you see, sometimes you just wonder, what is it that we do as a government? How would a government tell you, oh, we're going to publish the names of sponsors? The sponsor of a criminal is also a criminal. So why are you publishing? What you do is to arrest, investigate, and prosecute. That is what you do as a government. You don't tell us this type of... let me not use certain words here. Sure.
All right, let's take a breather, Senator. But when we come back, I would like to take you up on the bill that you presented that caused your colleagues to go into an executive session. It must have been something that was very controversial. We want to hear from you, and perhaps if you have changed your mind in going forward on that bill. We'll take a break, everyone, and when we come back, more on the state of the nation. The side of the minority in the Senate, Senator Abaribe, is here tonight with us. Don't go anywhere, everyone. We'll be right back.
We are too strong for you.
We're too bold for you.
Too fast for you.
Too fierce. Too smart for you.
I dare to express myself. You're going against the norm. You're standing out. You are daring. That's what being a rebel is. I believe it's part of my essence to give something.
So I thought to myself, if my stories or my scripts are going to have my DNA, then I'm going to have to direct them myself. It was a scary thought. Because at the time, there were hardly any female filmmakers in Nigeria, hardly any female directors.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Senator Abaribe, he is the Senate Minority Leader and the Senate. He's our guest tonight on the program, and he's in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Senator. Let me begin this time around with the bill you presented, the bill for the establishment of the Armed Forces Commission 2021. It caused a stir on the floor of the Senate when you stood up to present that bill, and you're expected to represent the bill. Are you considering altering it in some way? I mean, the original context of that bill, which may have upset some of your colleagues.
Well, I'm not considering altering it. Maybe you will just tweak it a little. But I think that people need to understand what that bill is all about. It's a bill that is incumbent upon us as the National Assembly to pass because it's embedded in the Constitution, Section 219 of the Constitution. And it's a very simple and straightforward bill. What happened that day was that we have, among some of my colleagues, a default position. Every little thing that you say, they say, oh, it's against President Buhari, and therefore, oh, okay, let us say no. But without looking at the content that you have brought out. And all they thought was that, oh, that we wanted to whittle down the powers of President Buhari, and that's not what the bill was all about. All that the bill was about is let us do what is in the Constitution. So I'm going to take just some time because I brought the Constitution with me. And the Constitution, that bill talks about three specific sections, 217, 218, and 219. But so that I will not just say, I will take 2173. 2173 says, 2171 says, there shall be an armed forces of the Federation, blah, blah, blah. Yeah? And such other branches as may be established by an act of the National Assembly. But 3 says, the composition of the officer corps and other ranks of the armed forces of the Federation shall reflect federal character. And of course, you know, and every lawyer can tell you that when the Constitution mentioned shall, it means that it must be done. It must be enforced. Now, Section 218 is the powers of the President and Commander-in-Chief to determine the operational use of the armed forces. Now, and he goes ahead to state all the things that the powers conferred on him, he can appoint this and appoint that. But Section 219, on which we based that bill, says that in giving effect to the functions specified in Section 217 of this Constitution and with respect to the powers exercisable by the President under Section 218, So this ties up 217 and 218 by an act, that is the National Assembly, establish a body which shall comprise such members as the National Assembly may determine, and which shall have power to ensure that the composition of the armed forces of the Federation shall reflect federal character in the manner prescribed in Section 217. Because Section 217 has said that the officer corps and other ranks should reflect federal character. Now, why was it put in the Constitution? They put it in the Constitution because they knew that there may come a time where somebody will exercise his powers as president in contradistinction to what this country is all about. And that is what we're seeing today.
Senator.
And therefore, we have a remedy in the Constitution.
Senator.
And so we now said, okay, since the Constitution insists that we must set up this body, why don't we go ahead and do it? That's all that bill is all about.
Senator, let me jump in quickly. What is your fear? Do you think that the president is done something wrong in his appointment? Because for those who have said, the issue with Senator Abaribe is that he feared a perceived lopsidedness in the appointment of security chiefs. Is that correct?
Shehu, there is a perceived lopsidedness, and all Nigerians know it. And the lopsidedness is not just in, look, 18 security agencies. A third part of this country from the south is not one single person. Even it got to the ridiculous extent where the next person who was supposed to take over, I think it was civil defense or one of these para agencies, was cast aside, and somebody else from the northern part of the country was also brought in. This Constitution says that you should always follow federal character. And maybe the people who put together this Constitution envisage that we may get to this kind of sorry pass and try to provide for it. And let me also say another thing. For those who continue to say, oh, it's about Buhari, it's not about President Buhari at all. President Buhari has already appointed his security chiefs, so this is not going to affect them. But if we bring that act, and if we make it into an act, and the act is subsisting, any subsequent president will be bound by it. And of course, like I said, there was a knee-jerk reaction, and everybody thought, oh, who knows what he's up to? I know, and all that. So, well, we intend that we are going to represent it. That was the only reason why I stood it down. You know, and in the parliament, if you insist and take a vote, if the vote doesn't go your way, then you won't have the opportunity to bring it back. So, because tempers had been raised, fears had been heightened, and some people within had already started walking around and saying, oh, it's a PDP plot, you know, and all that type of thing. But there were also those in the APC side who saw reason with me to say, the Constitution mandates us because the clause there is shall. And so we have to go ahead and do this. You know, and of course, not being an anarchist, I just said, okay, if everybody's tempers are all right, let us all cool down, let us all calm down, let us step it down, then let us do further consultations, and then we will present it again in an atmosphere that will be devoid of rancor.
All right, you mentioned something, and it does look to me, Senator, that you are a very strong voice from the southeastern region of the country. And this is a bit of politics now. but there was a meeting over the last few days about the future of this country and the leadership of this country. It does look like, from what you've just said in talking about this bill, there's a perceived injustice or there's a perceived unfairness that you have spoken of tacitly in your speech tonight. Do you feel that your region is unfairly treated in the polity?
So in my language, usually when you pose this type of question, we'll ask you, I mean, you should count your teeth with your tongue. That will, you know, you're here, you get everything. How can the Southeast be so pushed down and marginalized in this manner? And everybody knows it. And it's not like it's something that is not known. I think the real issue, Sean, is the insensitivity of this government to what people talk about. I'll give you just a very simple example. Sean, yesterday, somebody sent me some information when we were considering the Federal Character Commission chairman. We took into cognizance during the consideration that there was somebody from the north who was the secretary. And now they are bringing somebody from the north to be the chairman. And we said, no. And everybody thought, I said, this is Federal Character Commission that is supposed to look into what other agencies and ministries of government are doing. And you're already introducing sectionalism into it. And at that time, some people got up, I think specifically the Deputy Senate President and a few others, and said, please, the man who's there has just 6 months to go. And yesterday, somebody now called me and said, oh, do you know that these people have gone ahead to extend the tenure of the person that they told us has just 6 months to go so that a Southerner will come in? So how can people be this insensitive?
So, Senator,
how do you want unity
so when
to be
people
in this country? That's what I'm saying.
So when you talk about 2023 presidency, your party, the PDP, has thrown it. I mean, there's the debate whether or not they should throw it open. They've not made the decision. Are you talking to your party? Because if you feel unfairly treated in your region, is it fair for the presidency to go to the Southeast in 2023?
Of course, we're talking to our party, but every party has its own rules, its own regulations, and every party wants to win an election. And so I get amused when people want a party that is going to go into an election in 2023, 2 years away, to start from today and say, oh, we're going to go here or go there. No, no party can do that. Even the APC itself, they have been hedging and talking up and down. So we will, when the time comes, take that decision as a party. But prior to that time, we are also engaging with our party and telling them these are the facts.
All right.
And look at the facts. And on the basis of the facts, let us make a decision.
On the final note, Senator, perhaps just a short and quick one. And what we've been looking at the solution to the security situation in the country. But on your part as lawmakers, one will think you and your colleagues will take as a matter of urgency when you ask the president to declare a state of emergency on security. But a lot of people have passed it on to the National Assembly that the ball stopped on your table. You need to make part of the laws of this country to ensure that we fix some of the structural problems. Why has it not become a matter of urgency for you and your colleagues to move on the relevant part of the laws of this country that needs to be fixed to fix our insecurity situation?
I think those who want to pass it to the National Assembly are being very, very unfair. Look, the buck stops on the table of the president. You can't push it away from there and say it's National Assembly. It is the president that makes the decisions about how to execute whatever laws we have. And I'm telling you, we don't even have to do this law. The president reads the Constitution, or he has people who read it for him and say, this is what the law says. It's up to him to do the needful. And the president doesn't do the needful, and rather than put it on his desk, then we're always running around and trying to find excuses. We don't find excuses for him. As the minority position, our position is simple. Let the president do his job. If he is incapable of doing the job, then he knows what to do. That's all. And when we said it in 2017, nobody believed us. Now the chicken has come home to roost, and we're having a country that is falling apart at the seams. So, I don't know what else we can do. But pushing it to the National Assembly, I'm sorry, that is not correct. That is not our job. Our job is not to do the job of the president. He should do his job.
All right. Senator,
and his job is to secure us.
Senator Abaribe, Senate Minority Leader, thank you so much for coming on the program this evening.